il faut savoir aussi qu'on est des êtres, on est de vraies piles électriques en fait. Hein. Il y a tout un système au niveau du corps. Alors pour ceux qui ont été voir le Thor,
le futuristique Duane Elgin explique comment le Thor constitue le modèle primaire utilisé par la nature pour la vie à tout niveau.
L'évolution implique de s'ouvrir, se déployer. La question est donc la suivante, qu'est-ce que l'univers déploie? Ce que l'univers déploie, ce sont des systèmes auto-organisés, et vous pouvez le constater à tout niveau. Un système auto-organisé est un terme technique utilisé pour décrire simplement un système qui se connaît lui-même en profondeur. Nous pouvons voir et observer ces formes auto-organisées partout dans la nature. Nous les trouvons sur la coupe transversale d'une orange ou d'une pomme. Nous les observons dans la nature dynamique d'une tornade. Nous les voyons dans le champ magnétique autour de la Terre et dans un champ magnétique similaire autour d'un individu. Nous pouvons le voir dans la structure d'une galaxie spirale tout entière. Nous pouvons l'observer dans la structure d'un petit atome. À toutes les échelles et au cours de toute son histoire, l'univers a un projet unique, cultiver des Thors. L'univers est une usine qui cultive des Thors.
Lors du symposium, des scientifiques m'ont montré comment le Thor avait été encodé par différentes cultures depuis des millénaires. Apparemment, les cultures ancestrales ont ancré ce code dans les formes les plus durables dont elles disposaient, dans les histoires, les icônes, les alphabets et les constructions. Nous voici sur l'un des plus vieux sites sacrés du monde, le temple d'Osiris à Abydos, en Égypte.
Très peu d'écrits ont été trouvés dans le temple d'Osiris. Cependant, il existe une information très importante dans ce temple. Sous la forme d'un dessin à peine visible, mais clair et précis. Il n'est pas gravé dans la roche. Il n'est pas sculpté. De manière extraordinaire, il est brûlé dans la structure atomique de la roche.
Nassim a décodé le symbole d'Osiris en 3 dimensions. Étant donné que notre monde n'est pas en 2 dimensions, il est logique que les codes donnant des informations à son sujet ne soient pas limités à des représentations plates. Sa version tridimensionnelle du symbole d'Osiris commence par le vector equilibrium, un champ de force parfaitement équilibré, avec 12 lignes d'énergie égales qui rayonnent. Elle stabilise son centre comme les 12 rayons d'une roue. Le modèle primaire du flux d'énergie équilibré autour de cette structure est le Thor. Nous passons maintenant au niveau suivant, plus vaste, avec un total de 64 pyramides appelées tétraèdres. Si nous plaçons des sphères dans la représentation du champ d'énergie toroïdal entourant chacune des pyramides et que nous écartons les pyramides, nous nous retrouvons avec une matrice qui, étonnamment, se superpose exactement à l'icône d'Osiris. Un modèle en 3 dimensions de celui brûlé dans le mur du temple égyptien il y a des milliers d'années. Maintenant, changeons de continent, passons de l'Égypte à la Chine, où la même géométrie apparaît sur un autre site sacré construit en 1420.
Rendons-nous à la cité interdite, où résident les dieux du soleil, et où l'on trouve à l'entrée les chiens fous, gardiens de la connaissance. Ils gardent la connaissance sous leurs pattes.
La même géométrie de 64 unités d'énergie est de nouveau encodée. Je me suis alors demandé si le fait que le même dessin apparaisse dans des lieux importants sur 2 continents différents était une simple coïncidence. Mais ensuite, Nassim m'a montré que cette géométrie de 64 unités d'énergie est encodée dans différentes cultures tout au long des siècles, partout dans le monde. L'arbre de vie kabbalistique hébreu crée également une structure identique, le vector equilibrium, y est de nouveau intégré à chaque niveau. L'antique sagesse chinoise intitulée Yi Jing est basée sur 64 hexagrammes, symboles composés d'une série de 6 lignes, certaines continues, d'autres cassées. Ceux-ci, une fois assemblés comme les 6 bords d'un tétraèdre, forment le cristal à 64 tétraèdres. Le même modèle réapparaît dans la recherche scientifique moderne. La double hélice se caractérise par un alphabet de 64 codons utilisés pour encoder notre ADN humain. J'avais constaté que la connaissance de la géométrie vivante de l'univers était très avancée il y a des milliers d'années. Mais comment donc pouvait-il en savoir autant?
Donc c'est difficile à expliquer pour ceux qui n'ont pas mis un pied dedans. On a besoin, pour notre santé, d'être lié entre autres à la Terre. On nous fait nous chausser avec des chaussures très très isolantes, style caoutchouc, tennis, tout ça. Voilà, franchement, bon, qu'on met des tennis pour aller faire du sport et autres, ok, pas de souci. Par contre, voilà, il faut se déchausser le plus souvent possible, aller marcher dans la nature le plus souvent possible et sans chaussures la plupart du temps. Après, il existe des chaussures, alors attendez, je les ai dans les pieds. Hop. Alors, c'est pas grand chose, je vous dis tout de suite, c'est des tongs. Voilà. C'est des tongs, mais c'est des tongs spéciales. Elles sont d'ailleurs très très lourdes. Alors ça, on peut trouver ça sur alors mon anglais et moi, ça fait deux. Grundology. C'est des chaussures, enfin des tongs dans un matériau spécial. Qui permettent d'être en total, comment dire, être lié totalement à la terre, que j'ai des chaussures ou non. Après, moi j'aime bien aussi marcher pieds nus, donc celle-ci, on va dire, bon, quand je vais souvent au jardin, donc les endroits où je peux me permettre de marcher pieds nus, où je risque pas soit de me mettre des trucs dans les pieds, ou je vais pas dans le poulailler et me prendre des la merde de poule sous les pieds, on va dire, je marche pieds nus. Après, dès que j'arrive là-bas, je les ai dans les mains, je les remets, voilà. Mais j'essaie le plus possible d'enlever ces chaussures. Alors, il faut savoir aussi que certaines chaussures peuvent être semi-conducteurs, donc forcément, il faut rester sur du naturel. Donc ça va pas forcément faire plaisir aux végans, mais le synthétique, il faut le laisser tomber. Malheureusement, le synthétique ne fait que de vous séparer de la terre. Donc le cuir, par exemple, est semi-conducteur. Donc de toute façon, comme moi j'estime que dans la vie, il n'y a rien qui ne se perd. Un animal que l'on mange, il faut l'utiliser jusqu'au bout. Voilà. Donc, tout ce qui est peau et autres, ça ne devrait jamais finir aux oubliettes. Tout devrait être récupéré, comme le feraient les Inuits ou autre. Hein. Tout devrait être récupéré. Et puis, voilà, avec modération. Pas élevé juste pour ça. Je pense qu'il y a largement de quoi faire avec ce que les gens mangent. Donc... et puis, on n'a pas besoin d'avoir non plus 36 paires de chaussures. Voilà, allez, mettons, même si c'est deux paires de chaussures de thé et 2 paires de chaussures d'hiver, suivant le temps ou demi-saison. Voilà, mais des bonnes chaussures. Et puis, si possible, malheureusement, il faudrait du cuir. Donc, le dessus cuir, quelque part, c'est plus pour le confort. Mais il faut que, au niveau de la semelle, interne et externe, que tout soit conducteur, donc au moins semi-conducteur. Et donc semi-conducteur, surtout par exemple en marchant dans la rosée, si c'est mouillé, forcément c'est beaucoup mieux. Voilà, mais c'est pour aussi notre santé. Plus on se coupe de la terre dans tous les domaines et plus on a des risques d'avoir de gros problèmes de santé. Parce que se relier à la terre, ça agirait un peu comme un anti-inflammatoire en fait. On se décharge. Il faut savoir que tout ce qu'on a autour de nous, là, tout ça, ça nous charge de mauvaises choses. Et le seul moyen, en fait, il faut savoir, la Terre, en fait, est chargée négativement, contient des ions négatifs. Et le fait de se mettre à la Terre, on se décharge. Donc, il faut absolument se déchausser le plus souvent possible. Et si vous avez la possibilité de prendre du cuir, moi, je sais que j'ai trouvé un petit, pour ma fille, parce que c'est pas forcément évident de trouver tout ce qu'on veut, mais ne serait-ce que pour la maison, que bon, le carrelage, lui, est relié aussi à la terre, hein, ouais. Donc, je lui ai trouvé une petite paire de chaussons, donc c'est pas des trucs pour aller dehors, hein, mais qui est fait avec juste une peau, et voilà, en cuir, de façon à ce qu'elle puisse, déjà, qu'elle puisse être un peu pieds nus, parce que comme vous savez que ma fille est handicapée, donc c'est pas évident pour elle de trouver des choses où elle est à l'aise dedans. Jusqu'à maintenant, je mettais des tennis, quoi, donc du coup, je la coupais tout le temps de la terre. Donc voilà, j'ai fait ça, et tous les jours, j'essaye, quand je peux, de la mettre pieds nus, dehors un petit peu, même si elle reste assise, mais au moins les pieds dans l'herbe, le plus possible, pour qu'elle se décharge. Au-delà de ce que je fais autrement. Donc au-delà de la mise à la terre, j'utilise pas mal de médecine quantique, mais je vais vous reprendre après, je vais aller voir ma pépette et je vous reprends. Allez, à tout de suite. Hop. Et ça va pas encore.
I grew up around Native American people, primarily the Cheyenne and the Crow. I remember coming home one day and we were going to go into one of the kids' teepees with his parents, and the mother said, "Take those shoes off, they'll make you sick." It was just strange why she would say they would make you sick. Well, I wouldn't have had a clue at that time.
In simple terms, grounding is literally putting your bare feet on the ground. When you do that, you're in contact with the Earth, and Mother Earth is endowed with electrons. And these electrons are literally absorbed through your feet. It's like taking handfuls of antioxidants, but you're getting it through the feet.
Grounding means connecting to the Earth to support the specific function of the organs of your body. It supports the body as a whole, but it specifically supports organ systems down to the tissues and the cellular function of the entire body.
In 1960, we invented synthetic materials. The first thing we did was we put synthetic soles on the shoes.
We started wearing sneakers.
So it's the most common sense thing that we are organisms that live and grow and depend entirely on the Earth while we're alive. And yet we have completely isolated ourselves from it. We're so disconnected that it becomes this weird thing if we actually slip our shoes off.
95% of people walk insulated on the Earth.
This was the single thing that happened that probably caused the proliferation of inflammation-related health disorders far and above anything else.
This is so incredible. This is Nobel Prize material.
I got involved in the cable industry in the early 60s. I first learned the need to ground cable signals as we were developing the industry. When you run a wire into the house, before you can go into the house, you have to ground the cable. I mean, you have miles of wire hanging up there in the air. If there's lightning in the air, it's going to hit the cable. And so what you want to do is create a path to ground for the lightning so that it doesn't enter the house or blow up the TV or create a fire. One day I was sitting at a computer and the computer kept crashing. I knew it was static electricity, so I put a piece of tape across my desk and grounded it. Then I realized in that process that the outlet wasn't grounded So I fixed it so that I could get rid of the static electricity. And I didn't think too much about it. I walked outdoors and I sat on a bench. This tour bus pulled up, and it looked like they had just been to one of these outlet malls, and white Nike shoes were on sale. It just dawned on me, I asked the question, I said, I wonder if it's possible that humans are, we're no longer naturally grounded. I wonder if these shoes could be interfering with us. So that night, I went to the hardware store and I bought a roll of metal duct tape. And I just taped it across the bed. I threw a wire out the window and it had a ground rod outside. I connected to the ground rod on one side and connected to the metal duct tape that I had laid on the bed. So when I laid down on the duct tape, I was like grounded because it was connected to the earth. I woke up the next morning and I thought, holy cow, there's something going on here, because normally for me to go to sleep, I had to take Advil. So I tried to find out what I could. The internet was hardly anything. This is back in '99. Went down to the University of Arizona into one of their medical libraries, and there was nothing. And in fact, I even tried to find the cause of chronic pain. The cause of MS was unknown. The cause of arthritis, unknown. They didn't know. Nobody knew. So I thought, well, I'll go out to LA. I'll go to UCLA and ask them. They pretty much laughed me off campus. They said, you expect us to believe that somebody's going to put a nail in the ground, tie a wire around somebody's toe, and it's going to make them sleep better? I said, get out of here. Go away. You're nuts. So I ended up having to put together my own study, and we grounded 60 people, and the reports that came in were unbelievable. TMJ disappeared, PMS disappeared, inflammation reduced, pain. Everybody slept better. Found an anesthesiologist in San Diego, and he says, I don't think there's anything to what you're doing. There's got to be an anomaly here, but I'll entertain you. He says, I will prove that you're wrong. Now, we did the study. It's the first study that I did that was a legitimate study where we had quantifiable data. Then we decided, well, we're going to do a big study now. And we ended up attracting scientists, physicists. When they saw the study, everybody said, well, this is really pretty interesting.
I didn't know anything about grounding. I had never heard of it at all, but I became a new mom, and I had my first child, and she had colic, and she cried and cried and cried. First thing I did, being a physician myself, was take her to the pediatrician, and remember distinctly leaving that pediatrician's office with a knot in my stomach, because the first thing they told me is, it's a baby, let him cry. Literally the only time I noticed that she wasn't in pain, and the only time I could soothe her, was when I was outside and I was barefoot and I had her in my arms, and every time we were outside, she relaxed. I noticed if I did use a stroller, or if she was in a car, she was still in pain and uncomfortable. This is not placebo effect. Like, she had no idea if I was wearing shoes or not. She doesn't know that. I'm holding her either way. And I just slowly started realizing this child can only take a nap and feel comfort is if she was on my skin, held skin to skin, and I was barefoot. She'd be dead asleep, and if I stepped in the house and took both my feet off the ground, she would wake back up and the pain response would come back. And I didn't know what it was called, and I didn't at that time feel comfortable thinking about using it in my conventional medical practice, but I just knew that this is what I'm gonna do to help my child. I was working with a mentor of mine, and she recommended that I ground my energy. I didn't know what she meant by ground yourself, so the first thing I did was go home and look it up on the internet, and through doing a search about grounding, I found Clint Ober's work and the book about earthing, and I realized that it's a real thing and a real healing modality with tons of medical literature behind it.
I first learned about grounding maybe 12, 13 years ago through one of the trainers for the Tour de France team from the US, and he was using it with many of their athletes and with surprising results. And I think that surprising best summarizes my response to it, because it didn't seem to make sense. I think I became a believer once I started to explore the science.
If you take a microscope and you look at a piece of wood and you go down, 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 all of a sudden, there's nothing there. There's molecules, but they're not even connected. What's holding them together? What's the force that's holding everything together? Our body is electrical. This is all electronic equipment. The heart, the lungs, the brain. I mean, this is electrical equipment. It's all electrical. Everything is electrical.
Unbeknownst to us, we live inside a battery. The surface of the Earth is charged negatively, and the ionosphere, which is a layer of the atmosphere about 60 miles up, which is ionized by the sun, meaning that the rays of the sun are so strong that they split the molecules into a positive charge and a negative charge. The negative charge are transferred to the surface of the Earth through lightning mainly, and the positive charge stay 60 miles up. The problem arises when we don't have negative charge. So we need grounding just as we need air and we need sunshine.
Stephen Sinatra, who was a cardiologist from back east, was attending a convention. We sat down with Stephen and told him the story of what I was doing. Now he said, well, if you're affecting pain, he says, you need to be researching inflammation. You don't have arthritis, you don't have cancer, you don't have all these health disorders. What you have is chronic inflammation.
We have so much inflammation in the body, and it comes out in illnesses. We go to a doctor with all these complaints, but a lot of it is silent inflammation, including my specialty, heart disease. Heart disease is an inflammatory process. So how do we reduce inflammation?
Inflammation is produced by neutrophils, which is a white blood cell. You have an injury, you have a damaged cell. And so these white blood cells come over and they encapsulate the damaged cell and they release reactive oxygen species, which rip electrons from the damaged cell and that destroys the damaged cell. If there's not enough free electrons there to reduce the remaining radicals, they're going to steal an electron from a healthy cell and in the process damage it. Then the message goes out to the immune system and another neutrophil does the same thing, eliminates that cell, and then you end up with a chain reaction.
ATP is short for adenosine triphosphate. It's the energy currency of the cell. So we're bioelectrical beings. That's the currency of our body. That's how it works. That's how we run our biological systems, is by generating this electrical energy that's transferred. And when we connect to the Earth through a conductive surface in some way, there's a transfer of electrons that slowly go into our body. In situations where we are insulating ourselves from this surplus of electrons into our body, we're going to get the absolute opposite. So instead of having low levels of inflammation and a thin blood, we'll have thick blood that's more likely to clot, and our levels of inflammation tend to increase.
You could take anybody who has chronic pain. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what's wrong. And ground them, and you're going to have a significant reduction in pain. You're going to stop the oxidation or the inflamed portion. That stops almost immediately. Then the body can heal and return to normal. And healing generally is improved by 60–70%. If inflammation is the cause of all these health disorders, then I know that not grounding is the cause of inflammation, because if the body is grounded, you can't have inflammation.
Can we measure the effects reproducibly? The answer to that is yes. We now have 20 studies.
There's 21 published studies in the medical literature on earthing and grounding. And this is peer-reviewed stuff. In simple terms, what earthing does is literally, it quenches the fires of inflammation. And if inflammation is the source of all root illnesses, including Alzheimer's disease, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, I mean, the list goes on and on. If you can impact inflammation and, squelch it, kill it, stop it, we're going to be healthier beings. So, why hasn't it caught on in mainstream? I can only say it will.
There's a well-established, traditional, conventional system that relies on expensive intervention. So they'd like to perpetuate that, and they're not too interested in having some competition coming in for a lot less expensive to sort of sabotage their profit levels. Because their goal isn't to help humanity. Their goal is really, as corporations, is increase their profit. The question becomes, how much of an influence has lack of grounding been in the epidemic of disease that we have? Is this grounding a factor?
The light switch went on, and I thought, we're doing things completely backwards here. A typical day for a child is completely ungrounded. Most children wake up sleeping on a bed that was not grounded in a house or a building or on a floor that was insulated from the earth. And then they go immediately into a classroom that's insulated. And even on recess, in the recess period, they go outside and are literally fenced in and are paved with asphalt. And then they have after-school activities, which are either indoors or if they're outdoors, they are literally required to wear protective gear. Even if they're exercising for 2 hours after school, 100% disconnected from the earth. And then they go home and they go inside and they eat dinner and they do homework all hours of the night, and then they pass out in an ungrounded bed. So that's a 24-hour period of time completely ungrounded, and that goes on day after day after day.
There's a resistance to integrating novel thoughts. And many times new ideas aren't implemented until the people who hold the counter opinion die.
The good thing about grounding is that you don't need a doctor to tell you to do it. You do not need a physician to recommend it to you. You can try this anytime. It is your birthright because you live on the earth.
I ground every day. Hey, I want to be connected to the earth as much as I can.
I would say about 95% of the day I am grounded because I believe it's just a no-brainer.
Go outdoors, take your shoes off, stand barefoot on the earth, or sit on the earth, put your feet and your hands on the earth, and you will instantly notice the pain and inflammation begin to drain from your body. I got my life back is probably the most common refrain that I hear. Thank you, I got my life back. I got my life back.